got a few questions today. I thought I'd do a short overview over this QLSD device. There were many iterations from a very big one to the smaller one to the final one, the tiny one, and I'm actually pretty happy how it turned out because, believe it or not, I'm not a hardware designer. I have no idea what I'm doing, so this is for me a big win. The QLSD ROM Tiny is developed 5 years ago. It's a dual slot QLSD. It has a 512 kilobyte flash ROM on board that can hold 8 QL operating systems. You can switch between the 8 systems by software, usually by basic command, and you can also flash the ROM by software. It's actually implemented on the QL side. So this is just a big CPLD. That's nothing too fancy. When I designed it 5 years ago, it was a very cheap chip. That changed with Corona. So nowadays I don't think it's. I'm not even sure if it's obtainable anymore. It has an optional third SPI, more or less like the QLSD. The original had 2, and there is an array of dip switches for configuration. Exactly. I designed a case for it, which was a bit difficult because I didn't consider the case when I designed the PCB. So that's it worked out, I think. The dip switches have 4 functions. I can disable the interface altogether, then it's more or less dead. I can disable the external ROM, so I can have something else there. I can disable the OS slot, that's necessary if I still have the internal EPROMs. And I can force the ROM slot to 7, which is the safety backup slot, because on power up it always boots from slot 0. And well, if that's short, then you don't boot anymore. So you can force slot 7, and then you have hopefully a bootable machine again.
How do you disable the internal ROMs from the ROM port?
No, I can't disable them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. No. I can disable the part in my device.
Okay.
If they are still inside, I have to disable the external operating system, so I don't have the switching and everything.
Yeah, cool.
So you get only the full power if you remove the internal ROMs.
Okay.
There are a few basic commands. As I said, you can say ROM switch in the slot, and then it will normally reset and into the new operating system, and that's it. Optionally, I can say don't reset it afterwards, which is a bit risky when you change the operating system under this machine. But I mean, I once developed an SMSQE version which does some bank switching. So I used it not for a single operating system, but used 4 banks of them and switched between them. Never quite got it to work, but in theory it's possible. You can switch between them any kind you like. There's a ROM flash command where it just say, flash this ROM binary into this slot. If the binary is smaller than 16 kilobytes, then it will overwrite the extension slot. So driver updates are one basic command away. And you can also read back what's in a slot. You can also read back which slot is selected. So for, I don't know, a boot program can say, for this slot I will do this and this. And there's one debugging command that should always return the value 49,111, which is the flash ROM ID, which is read out of it. I mean, there's no microcontroller or anything, it's really just talking directly to the flash ROM, so that was a good way to check if the connection works. the production has hit a bit of problems. I did a quite expensive production run in 2022 to get myself the pressure of actually getting off my butt, but didn't work. I still have many of those. Also, there was one problem that between the golden fingers of the ROM slot there was a solder mask. I don't know how it got there actually, because just this morning I realized there wasn't one on the prototypes. So I'm not sure if I messed up or the manufacturer, but the thing was the solder mask was a little bit, I don't know, tenths of a millimeter higher than the gold fingers, and the QLs have so much tolerance when it comes to ROM ports that sometimes the contact rests on the solder mask and not on the gold, and then things just don't work. And it puzzled me a lot for a long time until NASA last meeting went, oh, it's higher here. So that was both a relief and a bit of a problem, because I told everybody I sold one last time. I said, oh, there's this. It should work, but on some QLs it doesn't. Yeah, so if it's a half a millimeter this way, this ROM slot, then you maybe have a problem. Exactly. So 1 week ago, a colleague of mine got a CO2 laser and lasered every single PCB, 2 sides, which is a quite smelly thing. Even though we had an industrial laser with industrial air extraction, that was not funny, but it worked very, very well, better than I hoped, because we didn't even have to laser around the gold contacts. The gold contacts are so reflective that the laser didn't do anything to them. But the black, it's even black solder mask absorbed the laser very well. So that was quite a funny afternoon with all those sports I had. So not sure I ever get rid of them, but they are done now. And that's a close-up of, the black solder mask looks cool here, that's out of question, but now the gold fingers are again elevated against the PCB, and the problem should be gone now. That was my presentation for the QLers ROM.